welcome to our very first episode of The Making of Her. This podcast is where strategy meets real talk. I'm your host, Dr. Meghna Dassani. Around here, we talk about the systems, the strategy, as well as the self leadership that it takes for you and I to build a business and a life that actually fits. So, today we are going to be diving into the thing that almost every high achieving woman I know that's in my world or that I may even coach battles. And that big elephant in the room is overwhelm. See, I'm not talking about the cute kind of overwhelm, right? Where your calendar is full, but you're still thriving. I am talking about the silent, simmering kind that has been normalized almost to the point where we don't even see it anymore. It's become so ingrained in our lives, and we've normalized it so much that we think it it just belongs. This is the kind where exhaustion feels like excellence, right? We flipped the script on this. And saying things like, I'm fine, is a code for I'm barely functioning. Does that sound familiar? Good, because today we're not doing any surface level solutions. What you and I are going to do is break down the anatomy of overwhelm, what causes it, how it hides in plain sight, and what to do when just push through actually stops working. Hint, it never does. So here's the thing. Overwhelm isn't truly a time problem. It, my friend, is a systems problem. You cannot calendar block your way out of emotional chaos, right? Overwhelm happens when the demands on your energy, my energy, all of ours energy, exceeds the systems that we have in place to protect it. That's it. It's a very simple formula. And yet, what you and I do is we treat it as a personal flaw. We say things like, oh, if I were more disciplined, or maybe I could get more organized, or stuff like, if I could just stop procrastinating. Here's the truth though, discipline without design just builds resentment. We cannot expand without designing it. Expansion by design, right? When your systems are broken, the effort that you are putting in almost becomes a punishment. Let me tell you a story. See, years ago when I was scaling my dental practice, yes, I still practice dentistry. I love teeth, God bless, right? But it is the one thing alongside all of this that brings me joy, helping my patients. Well, those days when I was in, the early stages of scaling my practice, my days look like a war zone of good intentions, but nevertheless a war zone. I would have see patients, I'd have team meetings. I'm still a mom, a wife, a daughter, admin tasks. Oh gosh, and that email that never ends, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. And I would end the day feeling like I ran a marathon that I never trained for, all the while getting run over by a truck, right? And I still somehow lost. That was my first wake up call. I didn't have a time issue because, well, obviously I got everything done, but I had a design flaw, which is why I felt exhausted. That was the bigger problem. And through working with my own coaches, mentors, as well as the women that I work with, I started noticing a pattern, what I call the 3 stages of overwhelm. Let's get into it, shall we? So stage number 1 is the pressure. It's the stage where you and I, we feel like we can handle it all. You're performing at a high level. You're running on adrenaline and caffeine, and we're telling yourself, it's just a season. I'll get through this when the holidays are over. I'll get through this when the kids go to college. I'll get through this when my daughter's potty trained, whatever that may look like in your life, right? This is the I've got it handled lie. And yes, that's it. It is a lie because we don't. We don't got it handled. What you and I are doing is managing chaos with charm. Then is stage 2, what I call the stage of paralysis. That's when your brain starts buffering. Decision making gets harder and harder. You open your laptop and you just stare. I remember I'd walk into my office manager's office and go, wait, why was I here? What did I need to tell you? That's when I know I am starting to avoid the things. You and I, we're starting avoiding the things that used to excite us. And see, the dangerous part is you blame yourself in this. And then comes stage three, which is autopilot. That's when you've gone numb. You are efficient, but you are emotionally checked out. You show up, you do the thing, you smile, but you're disconnected from your why, the reason we started doing what we do. And that is not leadership, that is survival. Now, if you're listening and nodding along, you, my friend, are not broken. You're just running an outdated operating system. We do that for our electronics, we update, right? Why not for ourselves in our lives? So, why do we normalize this overwhelm, right? We normalize it because we have been rewarded for it. Since childhood, right? This is our default. This is what we've been programmed to do. Because since childhood, many of us were told that if you're busy, you're important. You're doing things that matter. And what we learned was we learned to equate output with our worth. In school, it used to be like, oh, she's so driven. In the world of med school and dental school, she's such a hard worker. In leadership, oh, she never stops. Of course she doesn't, because no one ever taught her how to even pause, forget, stop. The culture of high achievement has glorified exhaustion. We brag about our 5 a.m. routines, never about the 8 hours of sleep. We celebrate overcommitment, which is disguised as ambition. And what we forget is capacity is currency. So you cannot build expansion from depletion. You cannot scale a business or a life if you're running on fumes. Let's talk about the system that changed everything for me and the women that I work with. It's called the Overwhelm Pyramid. Picture a triangle, right? Divided into 3 layers. The base of that triangle is the awareness. Bottom line is you cannot fix what you cannot name. This is where you audit what is actually draining you. Is it tasks? Is it people? Is it decisions? Is it the expectations surround you or the ones that you have put on yourself? Because awareness, my friend, brings clarity. And clarity is what brings the calm. Then comes that middle layer. That is the layer of alignment, because once you see it, you have to realign it. You know it's broken. You're going to want to fix it. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Because I promise you, half the things on your plate, they were assigned by someone else's expectations, most likely not even your own actual priorities. So now is when we take action. Now is when you redesign your systems, putting boundaries into place, putting automation into place, delegation. What can I allow somebody to help me with? Simplifying things as well, right? One change at a time. Doesn't have to be anything big. It does not have to be that massive overhaul. Just little microsystems that can free up mental space. Overwhelm isn't solved by taking things off your plate, right? It's not like we're going to pretend it doesn't exist. It is solved by redefining that table. What is it going to look like for you? What is that new you, and what are those boundaries in place? So here are 3 quick resets that you can start today, right? Like I said, it does not have to be a big, magical, massive overhaul. The first one I call the 3-minute audit. Simple. Set a 3-minute timer on your phone, on whatever digital app that you like, or computer, whatever that may be, and brain dump everything that is floating around in your head. And when the timer is up, circle what of these things is actually going to move the needle in your business, in your life, in whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, and cross out what doesn't. I know it's going to seem like, but Meghna, everything is important. I'm sure. Everything is important, but what of these things is actually going to move the needle for you? The second thing is our decision diet. Just so I'm clear, I dislike diets. I don't like being told I need to go on a diet. I don't believe in dieting. But what we are going to do in this case is for 1 week and 1 week only, limit yourself to 3 major decisions a day. The rest of this stuff, batch it or automate it, because decision fatigue, my friend, is one of the biggest energy leaks in leadership. At some point, you're like, I don't even care. Have you thought yourself? Have you caught yourself thinking that? And then number three is boundaries as strategy, because see, boundaries are not emotional walls, right? They are operational systems, because every no that you and I say creates space for a stronger yes. I want you to remember this. Overwhelm is not a reflection of your weakness. Quite the opposite. It is a sign that your strategy just needs an upgrade. It needs to be updated. Because when you feel that tightness in your chest, or the spiral of there's too much, or a lot of women I know have the Monday scaries, right? It's just there's a lot going on. Just pause and say, this is not personal. It's a pattern, and it's a pattern that I can take one system at a time to fix. I don't need to be doing all 10 at the same time. See, small strategic tweaks are going to compound faster than the huge giant resets that you're probably going to abandon in a day or so. We're going to put it to the side and say, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. I have X, Y, and Z going on. Does today's episode sound familiar? If it hits home, I want you to do one thing. Take the Overwhelm Index that I have linked in the bio. It's just a quick 2-minute quiz. It is going to help you identify what stage of overwhelm you're in and what your next move should be. As simple as that. You will get your personalized breakdown right in your inbox, I promise you. Now, if you've loved this conversation, if you have a high achieving woman that could benefit from this conversation that you and I have had today, who needs a reminder that freedom is not found in more time, although that would be nice too. It's built in better systems, because that is what is going to get us there. I'm Dr. Meghna Dassani. This is the making of her, and I am so stoked and grateful that you took the time out to share this very special first episode with me, because my friend, growth is a system, not a secret. See you next time.